What is going on, everyone? It's Nero again, here for you, some Battlefield 3 in this week's episode of Dear Nero. So I figure I should actually cover on the gameplay a little bit, considering nobody has seen any Battlefield 3 gameplay from me in well over a year. And so this happened. I was surfing YouTube one night, and I came across a series called The Battlefield Friends, BFFs. It's a really funny series on Machinima. It's an animated series where it's kind of poke fun at the newbie things people do in Battlefield, and it's kind of poking fun at the game in general. And it's a really funny, entertaining series. I watched all 20 episodes of it, and I'm like, man, now I want to play me some Battlefield. But the thing about me and Battlefield is that I play on console. It's 12 on 12. These gigantic maps, and half the people on your team, half the people on the other team are in vehicles, and it's just like, wow, man, there's nobody to shoot at. Like, each match is like 30-40 minutes long, and look at this, I couldn't remember what button was the knife people, and his teammate ended up spawning on him. I get a double spray. But just the fact that the matches are so freaking long, man, it just kind of turns it off for me. And the fact that you'll play a 40-minute match, you get 10 kills if you're playing on console, so it kind of turns me off, but I figured it'd be fun to play a little bit of it, and I think it made for an entertaining gameplay. So let's hop into this week's episode of Dear Nero, a weekly series where you guys send me in fan mail, fan questions if you will. I feel as though it's a good question, entertaining question, I go ahead and answer it. Let's hop into this first question. He writes, Dear Nero, but who do you think makes the best Call of Duty, Treyarch or Infinity Ward, and why? Keep up the good videos, I always watch them. So a long time ago, a very long time ago, it was over a World at War gameplay actually, I discussed my thoughts on Infinity Ward versus Treyarch, and I'm going to kind of reiterate this for this video because that video is so long buried that probably half of you haven't even seen it. So in the video I kind of discussed the pros and cons of each developer. Let's talk about it. So Infinity Ward, pros, they made COD 4. Yeah, I love COD 4. COD 4 is a great game. Another pro, Modern Warfare 2 to an extent. I really liked Modern Warfare 2. It was 1 or 2 patches away from being the best Call of Duty ever, in my opinion. It's just a matter they did not support their game during Modern Warfare 2. And then Modern Warfare 3 was just, oh man, I hated it. I hated Modern Warfare 3 inside and out thoroughly. I just really didn't enjoy that game for the most part. After the first month or so, I'm like, wow, I hate this game. So Infinity Ward, the past couple games they've put out, both Modern Warfare 2 and Modern Warfare 3, I've had problems with. Modern Warfare 2, they didn't support it, even though it was a great game. They didn't support it. We had a Javelin glitch for like a month. We had care package glitches, One-Man Army noob tubes, which never got patched. They implemented death streaks for whatever reason. And just all these things that they put into the game, it's just like, wow, man. Then I look at Treyarch games. And by the way, I'm only going back to 2007 with this. I'm not talking about COD 2 or 3 or even the first Call of Duty. But they had COD 5, which is World at War, and I love World War II shooters. And you guys need to remind me of this. I want to make a video about why there needs to be another World War II shooter in Call of Duty, but I'm going to talk about that some other time. I loved World at War. It was a great game, great World War II shooter. After that, they had Black Ops, which is kind of this like crossbreed between the Cold War and Vietnam, and a little bit of World War II even during the campaign missions. I thought Black Ops 1 was a great game. I thought it was a fantastic game. I love that game. Actually, I have like 125,000 kills in that game. I really like that game. And then Black Ops 2 here, I for the most part, I enjoy it as well. And another factor about Treyarch is you also get zombies, whereas Infinity Ward, you get what? Spec Ops? Zombies, right? Everyone likes zombies. So overall, with everything I just presented, my opinion is concluded that I like Treyarch more than Infinity Ward game. Let's say a hypothetical situation, instead of alternating every year, they were to both put out a game the same year, I would go for the Treyarch game over the Infinity Ward game. Although, I'd probably get both, but if it was like a life-death, pick one or situation like that, I would pick the Treyarch game. So that's my answer for that question. Hope you enjoyed it. Next question. He writes, Dear Nero, recently I've been playing one of my most nostalgic games ever, Pokemon Emerald. So this got me thinking, are there any games that you have played recently or a while ago that you find to be very nostalgic? If you answer this, please don't use a Call of Duty game since we know which ones you find nostalgic. Thanks, Mitch. I talk about all the time how, what I just said in my last answer, how Modern Warfare 2 was the best game that never was, how COD 4 and World at War were phenomenal games, and I even enjoyed Black Ops, so I definitely talk about games I enjoyed a lot more. But what other games other than Call of Duty do I find nostalgic? So on my Let's Play channel, I've actually done playthroughs of Pokemon Fire Red. I did a playthrough of Pokemon Ruby. Right here on Nero Cinema, I'm actually doing a playthrough of Red Dead Redemption: The Undead Nightmare. I love Red Dead Redemption. I love the single player, I love the Undead Nightmare, and I love the multiplayer. I really like Skyrim. I actually downloaded this to my Xbox. Sonic the Hedgehog, or Sonic and Tails, Sonic and Knuckles, those games I used to play on my Sega Genesis. I downloaded here on my Xbox, and I play those occasionally, just because I feel like I'm 5 again while I'm playing these maps. And while I'm playing Sonic games, like I almost remember them, even though it's been 15 plus years since I played it. I can still, remember this certain board or this certain part of the game. It's a really cool thing. I think nostalgia is a really, really cool thing. So those are just a few of the games that I've played or have been playing as of late that kind of give me that nostalgic feeling that you're getting from Pokemon Emerald. Next question, he writes, Dear Nero, if you could quit YouTube and do anything else, what would you do? Nathan from Michigan. So I don't want to paint this in the wrong way. It's not as if YouTube is, well, it is work. Let's get this out there. If you're doing YouTube full time, it is work. But I wouldn't say quit YouTube. If I could quit, the way you phrased the question, if you could quit YouTube, I wouldn't want to quit YouTube. I don't think YouTube's something I would ever end up quitting. I really enjoy making videos. I enjoy giving feedback, and I love interacting with people from all around the world. That's a really cool thing. But let's say hypothetical situation, for whatever reason YouTube stopped, like the site exploded and it wasn't there anymore, and I could do anything I wanted. I think I would want to do something similar to YouTube, believe it or not. I think I would want to do something within video production. I would want to do something where some form of line in a movie, not necessarily acting like in a movie or a TV show, maybe something behind the scenes, something like that, maybe working in a television network, something like that. I love this whole broadcasting, video entertainment stuff that I'm doing here on YouTube, and I think it'd be a pretty fun career choice down the line. But then again, I'm 21 years old, and I still don't know what I want to be when I grow up. My mom uses that saying all the time. She's 43, and she's like, I don't know what I want to be when I grow up. And because you're constantly developing new passions, I guess, in life, so you never know what you're going to want to do down the line. So right now, this is my passion. This is what I want to do for right now. So that's going to be my answer for that question. Next question, he writes, Dear Nero, if you could create one Call of Duty, what would it be about? Your videos are awesome. Sincerely, Pablo from Guatemala. Well, Pablo from Guatemala, that's a long ways away from America. Actually, it's not really, but in Pennsylvania, it's still weird for me being on YouTube, right? I live in Pennsylvania. I get these messages from people from Guatemala. I get messages from people from Australia, from the UK, from Ireland. Just all these random places all around the world. And it's like, wow, this is still mind-blowing. But the fact I'm reading a message from a guy from Guatemala is kind of cool. But if I could make a new Call of Duty, what would it be? I think I might have answered this once or twice before, but I'm going to say it one more time. World War II shooter. Gosh darn it, we need another World War II shooter within this first-person shooter genre. The last good World War II shooter we have seen was in 2008, and it was World at War, and it was phenomenal. Why not keep riding that gravy train, man? Just keep riding that World War II gravy train. I realize it's been done to death, but keep doing it. There's so many different things of World War II that still haven't been covered in video games that we could still do, and that's what I would probably do if I had control of a new video game. Next and final question, he writes, Dear Nero, is it okay to not have a social life? I don't have one and I don't care, but is it acceptable? Albert from California. So, I debated on the best way to answer this question, because people seem to come along the lines of social life is everything. And in that regard, how do you define a social life? I'm 21 years old and I don't drink. I don't like drinking. I don't even approve when people drink. I don't like being around it. A lot of people my age, they go out to the parties and they go out to the bar and all this stuff, and I just don't like that. I don't know. I just don't like it at all. I don't like being in that situation. And some people say, oh, you're a nerd. All you do is play video games. I'm like, well, I'm kind of. Video games are kind of my job as well as YouTube. But it's a very small portion of my job. The rest of it is what things I do on here on YouTube. And I necessarily don't go out all the time. I don't go partying. I don't go drinking like most people within my peer group, within my age group. But what are they really doing that defines a social life? Is going to parties a definitive statement for I have a social life? Is going to the store, going to school? I get this a lot. People say like, oh, what'd you do today? I'm like, oh, nothing at all. Like, wow, you have no life. When these people say you have no life, what do they do that day? They go to school and go home. So people have, it's a very broad statement of what people can define as a social life. My opinion on it, if you're happy doing what you're doing, that's honestly the key to life. Be happy. I was thinking about making a video about this, the meaning of life, and honestly I think the meaning of life is happiness, and do whatever makes you happy as long as it's somewhat socially acceptable, meaning you shouldn't molest children or murder people. But if your form of happiness is get good grades in school and play video games a lot, do it. As long as it's not affecting other parts of your life, go ahead and do it. But I hope you guys will enjoy this week's episode of Dear Nero. If you guys like your question featured on next week's episode of Dear Nero, simply send me a personal message here on YouTube, like tagline reading Dear Nero. If it's a good question, or entertaining question, I go ahead and answer it. But until then, this has been Nero. Hope you guys all enjoyed. Please don't rate the rating. Love you guys all. Have a wonderful day.